Okay, hello everyone. In this video I'm going to assemble a previously disassembled Technics KN-3000 keyboard. I made another video showing the disassembly. This video is strictly at higher speed to quickly, in less than 15 minutes, you can see how to put it back together. Now, as I said, this is 4x, means it's 4 times the speed to make it fast, efficient, and quick. So now I'm putting the screen. Look at that screen. You have to put it in that position. Look at the cable. It's on the left side of me, the right side of the watcher or the camera. The cable is important to be on that side because it plugs into the inverter and you cannot put it differently. So you have to be very careful when you put. The screen has 4 screws, which I just installed the 4 screws. So let's see. Now this is the inverter board. The inverter board is the board which supplies power for the screen backlight. It illuminates the CCFL lamp of the screen. And remember, I plugged in the cable, two cables to the inverter board. One is the power in, one is power out. This is the board that has a lot of LEDs. Be very careful, these LEDs could bend. If one LED bends, it's not gonna go in. So you have to be extremely careful and see exactly where it goes. So it goes right there, which is to the right of the screen from my position, and to the left of the screen from your position. So you have to, this one has a lot of screws, so you have to put all the screws nice and easily. Make sure you don't mix up the screws. At the time that you take it apart, you have to have separate bins in which you can put the screws so that they don't get mixed up and what have you. So yeah, that's what you need to do. So let's see. I'm putting the screws. There's a lot of screws. They're self-tapping screws, small Phillips. It's a must to have a electric screwdriver. Now this is the same type of board. This is the button switchboard with a lot of LEDs that can bend, so be careful. Put it when you remove it, you have to remove it gently, and take it up vertically so it doesn't bend the LED lamps. Now again, this has a lot of screws, so I have to put a whole bunch of screws all around it in order to get it in place. These are the control buttons that you press in order to change the sounds, change the music, and what have you. So be very careful. Also, when you're putting those screws, make sure you don't damage the board with the tip of the screwdriver. You cannot afford for the screwdriver to basically skip. So see how those screws go? Exactly, that's how you put all the screws together. Okay, this is the bottom of the keyboard. So that little padding goes underneath right there. See those screws you never have to open. Okay, so now this is what I have right now is the synthesizer board. This is the board which generates all the beautiful voices that you're listening to. This is the synthesizer board, or the sound generator, not amplifier but generator. This also has multiple screws, and make sure you put it in the right position as I did. See those chips with a lot of writings went to the right. This is the expansion card. This will be seated on top of the synthesizer board. This card is to put expansion sound modules, a different type of sound modules you can put. These are the speakers and subwoofers. They're actually speaker subwoofer combo together with a tweeter. So you have to put those in exact same fashion, and notice which direction the cable is hanging. You have to make sure that that's the direction you put it, because you cannot afford to put it wrong. This is the amplifier board. Remember, the amplifier board is the board that basically amplifies the sound that has been generated by the sound generator. And that's why it gets connected directly with the sound generator with cables that's plugging it in to the right. Right there where my fingers are, those are like little cables that connect it directly. So now we have to put a couple of screws on the side of the keyboard and a few on the top. So the side of the keyboard where the connectors are, even there it takes like some screws, but those screws are black in color. The other screws may be black or maybe golden color. That was the cooling fan I just put. The cooling fan is to cool down the power supply and all the other equipment components. This is the power intake board. The power intake board goes right there, and it has a couple of screws on the top and one screw on the back panel which holds it. So now these were the wires that were attached, keeping the top panel and the bottom panel attached, which basically I need to reconnect. This is the second set of speaker and tweeter. Each one takes 4 screws, which you need to put. The bottom of the keyboard has a wooden panel that's just for bass creation, and you don't have to take that apart when you for taking the keyboard apart. You don't have to open those screws. That's the transformer. It's a very heavy unit. Be very careful when you're putting it back together. That one also needs to be anchored with 4 screws. That's very heavy, so make sure the screws are not loose, and also plug in the cables of the transformer exactly the way they are. You know, the main cable plugs into the power amplifier, and the other cable plugs into the power intake board. That's the heatsink right there. This is the floppy drive. The floppy drive is an old technology unit, and it has 4 screws on the tray, which needs to be mounted on the tray, and then once it's on the tray, you put it back right there where I'm putting it. Now remember, you have to slide the bottom in the hole and then tie the screws, and also make sure to plug in the flat ribbon cable and the power cable, both cables correctly and with the right polarity. All cables that you're plugging in, they have to be plugged in the right polarity. Okay, so now we are putting back these keys. So if you have to change a key, that's all. This is from the part you need to watch. The keys you need to push in and slide in. Basically, you first put the key down and then push it in and then slide it backwards. That's how the keys go in. Each key is for a specific place. You cannot switch the keys into the wrong place. I'm gonna push that last key in. I just put it there to show you how the keys open. There you go. And the whole keyboard assembly has only 2 screws two anchoring points on each end of the keyboard panel. There are no screws in the middle section of the keyboard. Now I'm plugging in all the cables back that were connecting the top panel to the bottom panel. All those cables needs to be plugged in. And all those red cable anchors or cable wraps need to be there. Now you need to put all the screws on the to the holes that are deeper, not the screws that are popping high. They were not even removed. You don't have to remove those, because those screws that are popping up, those are only for holding the wooden panel together. And yeah, just basically that's it. You put all the screws all around it. Remember, the screws that are in the inner section are longer than the ones on the outer parameter. The ones in the outer parameters are shorter screws, so don't mix the screws. I keep saying that. Do not mix the screws. Well, actually, I believe the screws are all the same length in this case. In some keyboards, the ones that go in the inner section are longer than the outer parameter, but I believe these are the same length. So yeah, basically that is. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and make sure not to break your keyboard. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.